Hi, I'm Lexa Vonn Nicoletti. I am a writer, promoter, musician, fashion designer, and artist in Los Angeles. I'm also an activist, and I just want to talk about everything that's going on in the world right now because it's getting pretty crazy. And now with social media and with all of our technology, we're getting to see a lot of it unravel with our own eyes, right before us. And whatever parts of that, you want to believe in or whatever, I'm not going to go into like whether things are real or not, because I always say, some things, whenever you take a big picture of anything, there's going to be some stuff that's contrived by different sides trying to manipulate people's feelings about it. But I'm just going to and then there's going to be things that are real, organic, that just happen. But rather than going into all that stuff, because that's stuff that you guys can research on your own. Now that we have Google, you can research conspiracy theories, you can research, political stuff, spiritual stuff, all that, And I encourage everyone to do that. Educate yourself so you know what you're seeing, so you know what you're experiencing. But other than going into all that stuff, what I want to do is look at the whole picture. Why is the world fucked up? Why are we like this? What's the world coming to? Why are we like this? Well, it's all connected, and at the same time, it's all really simple. A lot of it just comes down to laziness, people not wanting to take responsibility, people not wanting to take time, people not wanting to deal with their own families, their own people, their own friends, their own whatever, and then it goes bigger to our own Earth, because we need to start looking at the Earth and as our home and everyone in it as our family. Because we do all affect each other, and there is butterfly effect, and there is karma, and it is all intertwined. And, you'd be surprised. Only one person has to hear your message or experience you in any kind of way, and it can trickle down into, saving someone's life or into destroying someone's life. And, we all need to take responsibility for the state of the world and do whatever we can. Now, I know most of us, because I'm one of them, we're just, we're not millionaire celebrities or, government officials where we have a ton of power. But at the same time, we do have power, because now anyone can say whatever they want and put it online and get a message out there. So, I'm not asking any one person to go save the world, but there are little things that we can do. And depending on your level, if you are someone that has a lot of money or a lot of influence or a lot of power in any way, then yeah, use that and do as much good as you can. If you're someone who's struggling, who doesn't have anything, then maybe just being a good person, being fair, being honest, being loving, using recyclable bags, there's little things, answering questions when people ask you things. There's things that we can all do. So let's look at the big picture of why the world is so fucked up. Well, let's start with the government. I mean, there's a lot of violence, but look at what our governments do. If we're raised being taught that shooting, killing, torturing, bombing is the way to deal with big problems, including sometimes just our personal religious beliefs, which is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. I do not care what somebody else thinks, as long as they don't push it on, as long as they know they're not hurting me, and hopefully not hurting themselves either. But that's besides the point. But if we can't, if our governments can't agree to nonviolent solutions, then how do you expect the little kids on the playground to? The police, the gangs, the husbands and wives who are raising kids, we all need to commit to nonviolent solutions, people. And that goes, it starts with our world leaders. It starts with our countries. Like, everyone, they need to agree to no violent resolution. Every country. And you know what? I think that they should all sign something. They need to sign treaties, and if a certain country is not going to comply with a non-violent way of working out whatever the issue is, then we pull our business out. We pull our support out. Why does my country need to defend you against another country who's fucking with you if you're going to turn around and fuck with me? Why do I need to import your crap here when I can make my own? If you're going to turn around and, slaughter us for freedom of expression, or sexuality, or race, religion, anything, Why? People don't realize that it's a lot of it is lies. There are alternatives. There is no excuse, guys. There's no excuse for anyone to deal with violent people in any way. There's no excuse for it. There's alternatives. There's nothing there's nothing that is so dire that somebody else has that we need to absolutely survive. There's no other alternatives. There's no way around it. That we have to put up with abuse, with violent, with any kind of violent terrorist actions or abuse. I'm sorry, but there's not. Maybe things would cost us more. Maybe things would be difficult. Maybe whatever, but you don't you don't put people's lives at stake over whatever, you know what I mean? We have to make those decisions to not do business and not have relationships that are violent or, abusive, bullying, terrorist. It's all the same shit, you guys. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's, another country or your girlfriend, boyfriend, or, your siblings, or, a clique at school, or, the popular people at the club. It's all the same shit. It really is all the same shit. So we need to all put our feet down and just not subscribe to any kind of terrorism and any kind of fear tactics, anything that results in violence. No one has the right to kill anybody. Okay? Leave that up to God. If someone has done something so fucked up, let karma take care of it. Because it will. Unless it's self-defense or something. But you get what you get what I'm saying. No one has the right to hurt anybody else. We need to start taking responsibility. Not just for physical violence, because nothing starts with physical violence. when situations occur, when physical violence occurs, do you think it just like someone's just like, you know, whatever it is, working their job or in their relationship or whatever, and just one day they decide, I think I'm just gonna go like kill people for fun? No. Even if they're really mentally ill, it doesn't like just happen like that. You know what I mean? It builds up. Almost anything. It's traits from fear, from pain, from oppression. These are the things we need to look at, and it's not always like, you know, let's not always play like the race card or you know, the gender card or the sexuality card. Those things are valid. You know, like I know. You know, I've been discriminated a lot. I've been abused as a female a lot. So. You know, I've lived on the streets. I've seen it, okay? I know people that have been killed by cops. Like, I personally know them. I know a lot of rape victims. Almost every woman I know. You know, I mean, so you know, I understand. Like, I have existed in lots of different groups, age-wise, race-wise, political-wise. You know, I talk to a lot of different people. So I know, but let's not, you know, let's not always focus on like, okay, it's discrimination against this person or that person or this type or that type. Let's just like take that power back into our own hands and say, well, what can I do? You know, because I can't control other people, just like I can't control whether my government decides to bomb another country. But you'd be surprised. Over time, you probably can when you make these little decisions, you know. What you can do is you cannot be that, you know, decide to not be that way. Decide to not be hateful. Decide to not be judgmental. Decide to hear people out if they, you know, if there was something that occurred and they should come to you. Decide to answer questions. If you've done something and someone voices it to you, hey, you said or did something that made me feel this way. Is that how you wanted me to feel? And you know, a lot of times, I mean, this has happened to me in the past a lot. And a lot of times, like, it was totally like, misunderstanding. It's like, oh my God, I didn't mean to, you know, to put that out there. I didn't mean to sound like that. There's times I put stuff online and I'll go back and erase it because I'm just like, okay, I know what I meant. And I know that I wasn't like really being negative or anything like that, but like I could see how someone else might take that the wrong way. So I'm just going to erase it because like, what, you know, does it need to be there? We don't have to share everything. So that's another thing that like I want to talk about is, you know, we don't have to, you know, whether you're an artist or just, you know, someone venting, we don't have to share everything. Like, we all do some things that probably aren't healthy from time to time. You don't have to promote it, you know. You don't have to, you know, we don't have to promote, you know, the time we went and like ate a dozen donuts. You know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm like so proud of myself. I'll just starve the next 3 days. Like, no, you know, like some 12-year-old girls reading that and they're going and, you know, throwing up in the bathroom. Like, you don't need to promote it. You don't need to promote, you know, if you're into like something that's, you know, not healthy or something that's dark or whatever, like, you know what I mean? You're entitled to like what you want, but you don't have to like, you know, you don't have to put it online. You don't have to put it online for, you know, to influence people towards something that you know is bad. And like, come on, guys, like we, you know, whether or not we want to, you know, choose a lifestyle that's like super healthy. I mean, you know, like for instance, nowadays I'm celibate, I'm sober, blah, 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 blah. And that's just me personally for, you know, personal reasons, because I got sick of, like, the bad shit that I saw and experienced. But, like, I'm not saying, you know, I'm not just going to sit here and preach and be like, okay, I don't want to know you if, you know, if you're not like me. But at the same time, like, you know, you don't have to, like, you don't have to put it online. You know, when you have like a public Facebook or whatever, you know, like you don't have to be like, oh, I got so trashed the other day. Here's some pictures of us doing lines on each other's tits. And why? Why do you need to put that out there? Or even like artists, like we need to start holding our celebrities accountable. as artists, yeah, there's a lot of darkness in the world. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of bad stuff, and a lot of artists, they reflect on that, and they address some of those issues. But when you're addressing those issues, are you doing it with like awareness? Are you presenting, is your song, is your movie, is your book, is it whatever it is, your photography, is whatever it is you're putting out there? For those artists that do like explore, negative or bad things in life, when you're exhibiting your work, does it offer a solution? Does it offer a positive solution? Is it there to help people, or is it just wallowing in it? Is it just wallowing in like, oh, the world, like, boo-hoo, the world sucks, or like, let's talk about make fun of killing people, or make fun of racist stuff or sexist stuff, or let's exploit women, let's write songs about sexually degrading women, or children, or like all these things. It's just like, why? You know what I mean? If you need that catharsis of creating something because you need to deal with your own psyche, fine, so be it. You don't have to release it. You don't have to put it online. You don't have to. You don't have to release a really fucked up movie. You don't. You don't have to release a really fucked up book. Because these days, I used to be in a shock rock band, and we definitely, we definitely were not trying to hurt people. We were definitely not trying to promote people to. We weren't trying to promote violence, for sure. It was a political statement to us, but what we didn't realize at the time was there's kids that are seeing it, that they don't have the education, that maybe they don't have the parents to explain it, and they're affected by it, and they don't understand. They don't know that it's a political statement, or they don't make the reference. They just see face value because they're a kid. You know what I mean? That's why it's like, okay, porn sites, it's over 21, and like to get into clubs, it's it's supposed to be over 21. So like things that are available for like anybody, any age group to have access to, tone it down, guys. You know what I mean? Like keep the adult stuff in adult places, and maybe maybe you should ask yourself why you're into that shit in the first place. In the way that you have to like explore it in a public, in such like a public forum. You know what I mean? I don't need to like advertise what I do in the bedroom to the whole world. Not that I haven't before, I've been interviewed about sex stuff, and I'm very candid, and I've gotten fan mail where I've gotten some interesting fan mail, and you know what, like, I don't take offense unless I notify the person, like, hey, like, that's really, you're sexually harassing me, I'm not comfortable with these questions anymore, it's like, this isn't now, you've crossed the border from curiosity to, like, disrespect. I'll tell them, you know what I mean? I'm not one of those people that'll, like, block anyone that, anyone that has a difference of opinion, or anyone that says anything to me, I'm a queen, and if I'm just gonna block you. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Especially if you're a celebrity. But even if you're not, and even if you're not, and there are people that are like fans or whatever, fuck you. If you're gonna put triggers out there, and someone is honest enough, and like they're not doing it in a harassing way, they're not like calling you names or anything like that, but they're honest enough to say, hey, what's up with that? Like, that statement like hurts my feelings, or your message comes off as this, or like, hey, that symbol you're using, do you know that it represents this? Is that what you stand for? Like, or hey, like that photograph is kind of, like, what are you trying to say there? And you don't have to ask, even if they're not necessarily asking in a defensive way, and we shouldn't ask in defensive ways, but we should be allowed to ask. And we should definitely be held accountable to answer. Like I said, especially if you are somebody that is an influencer, which we all are. We all are on a small scale. It only takes, you only have to affect one person to have it trickle into a whole huge thing. I have had a lot of weird experiences where it's like, I had no idea that some, little thing I said or did, some song that like I released on an indie, independent release or show that I did at a small club, like one person who was huge in the entertainment industry took that concept and sold it to like a major artist, and turned into like a huge trend. I mean, like I'm like literally credited in a book for like pioneering angry goth punk girls, at the turn of the millennium, and I'm like, whoa. I didn't realize, that my like little local band, even though we did have fans all over the place, through the internet and whatnot, but I didn't realize that like I had that much influence. Well, you can, you can, but like, and that's talking from someone who didn't even know that they had any influence. But when you're someone who you know that you do, like, if you're like a big celebrity and you get a lot of fan mail or whatever, like, and you know that you're influencing a lot of people, a lot of people are seeing you, a lot of people are like, viewing your art, then, you need to be even more responsible because, no one made you take that job. No one's forcing you to stay in the industry, okay? There's ways out of everything. Again, it comes down to money, you know what I mean? Like, if people's lives are less important to you than, like, money that you might lose from backing out of a project that you don't feel is healthy, or, not releasing an album, or whatever it is, like, you have to start putting people first, because it's not just about that one person. So often people are like, oh, well, whatever, I don't care about them anyway, or I don't care about offending those people anyway. Well, and maybe you don't. Maybe you don't, because maybe that person or that group of people doesn't directly affect you, but they directly affect this person, and that person, and that person, and that person, and that person, that person, that person, that person. Boom! Are you affected now? Exactly. So we need to stop looking at things like that. And we need to start being accountable. We need to start being sorry. We need to start communicating. We need to start answering questions when people ask them. As much as we can. I know, like, we don't see everything. We only have so much time in the day. We're not all responsible for the entire world, but at the same time we are. Like, do what you can. Do what you can. But, like, if you know what I mean? If you know that, like, you've caused someone pain, or you've really confused someone, it's like, do what you can. Like, answer their questions. Address the issue. Maybe it's a misunderstanding, and you can be a positive influence. You can turn things around, guys. Even fights that we have with people, whether they're people online, friends, family, like, I know, okay? Like, there's people that I've tried to get through to, that I've said sorry, and I've really tried to get through to, and sometimes, you can't. Like, sometimes, like, no matter what you say, no matter how much you try to communicate, like, they won't, but at least you can say you tried, I feel like if someone has hurt me, I feel like I have done my part. Like, if I let them know, if I see something that's wrong, if I see something that concerns me, or that hurts me, or that I think is dangerous, or that's going to hurt someone else, or, it's going to hurt our world in some way, if I, like, address it, then I can at least, whether it stops it or not, I can at least say, well, I tried, because the worst thing you can do is nothing. And, you can sit there and be like, whatever, I'm gonna be cool, I don't care, Well, you'll care when it's your best friend. You'll care when it's your family member. You'll care when it's, a stalker at your door with a gun. These things happen, and sometimes you can be perfect. You can be a perfect angel, and they still happen. But, you know what I mean? That's not an excuse to be an asshole. You know what I mean? And whether we do things, I mean, I would like to think that most people out there are not trying to cause harm or pain on purpose. Unfortunately, I know for a fact that some people are, but I think most people aren't. It's miscommunication, or like stupidity, or not thinking, or whatever it is. People not wanting to just like own up and deal with whatever the situation was. We need to not do that. We need to even if you didn't mean to hurt someone, if you know that you hurt them, if they tell you, if you feel it, if you find out, whatever, like, you don't have to necessarily be sorry for like what you did, because maybe what you did, like maybe you didn't do anything wrong. Like sometimes it's not about wrong or right. Sometimes it's just about the fact that you hurt someone's feelings. You can still be sorry for the fact that they're hurt, and you can still be honest. You can still be honest with them. Like, I think everyone should be sorry. When someone's hurt. If somebody likes me and I don't like them back, in the way that they like me, like, I feel sorry. You know what I mean? I'm not just like, oh, well, whatever. You're like, you're I don't care about you. I don't care if you go kill yourself because you're ugly or whatever. No, you know what I mean? Like, like, if it comes to my attention, then I know, like, I'm gonna try to address it, and I am sorry. Like, I don't want to hurt anyone. I wouldn't want to like lead anybody on, or I think all that stuff is like really, really evil, and sometimes we do it by accident, or we don't know how someone feels. But like, if somebody, if someone has voiced that, if someone has made it really, really clear that you're like confusing them or hurting them, and they've like, they have like open communication with you to where you can, communicate, then it's your responsibility to, because a lot of times these things can be cleared up like so fast. And like, what are you getting out of keeping somebody else like confused or hurt or deluded? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if someone asks me a question, I'm going to give them an honest answer, and I would want the same in return. If I'm voicing to you that something you're doing is hurting me, I don't expect you to necessarily change, because you might not see it the same way I do. But you can at least say sorry. You can at least say, I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's not my intention. And like, people that you hurt are your best sources of information a lot of times, because they are the ones that don't see things necessarily your way. So a lot of times, the people in your life that just agree with everything you do, you're not going to learn anything new from them. And a lot of times it's the people that disagree with you, or the people that are offended or are hurt by something that you did or said, that can teach you a lot. They can teach you, like, hey, this is why what you said is offensive to like my race, my religion, my gender, my sexuality, whatever. Like, we need to communicate. Like, we need to teach each other. Like, we need to really work at like calmly teaching each other, not going off on someone like, oh my god, you said that and that's racist and I hate you and I'm going to get a bunch of people to gang up on you now. Da 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 da. No, because a lot of times it's ignorance. Maybe that person didn't even realize that what they were saying was offensive, or or how it sounded. Like, so we need to kind of like we need to communicate. We need to stand up when we see things like that, and but in a kind way, and just say like, hey, when you say this, or when this, whatever it is you're doing, like, it's offensive or it's hurtful to, for this reason, or look at the damage that it's causing, or or is it worth it? Like, I've worked in the music industry a long time, in punk, goth, metal, all the crazy stuff. And some of it has great political messages and is very educational. And then some of it, it's kind of like, okay, you have the right to say whatever you want, to perform whatever you want, but why? Why would you want to? Why would you want to promote death, suicide, murder, rape, racism, sexism? Why? How is that going to improve your life? And really, when you think about it, it's kind of funny, because even like money-wise, which is supposed to be like whatever everyone's great big goal, right? how is that even like making you the most money that you could make? Because they're like kind of alienating a lot of people by being like that. I don't know. I'm not saying to be all like, sunshine and rainbows, or not talk about anything that's like real, but I'm just saying like maybe the way that we talk about it, to talk about it in a more responsible way. And before you release something, just ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this something that I want people to associate me with? Is this going to help people? Is this going to hurt people? Is this going to do more damage than good? Because if it's doing more damage than good to your audience, to society, it's doing more damage to you. It is. Are you not human? Do you not live on Earth? You're alive. You're here. You have to live in the war zone too. So, before you represent something, ask yourself, is it a positive message? Is it a problem that you're addressing with positive ways, nonviolent ways of dealing with it? Or is it just mean? Is it just gross? Is it just hateful? And stop categorizing people. And stop categorizing yourself. When it comes down to it, none of us really know what we are on the inside, When you really, like, go back into genealogy and history and wars and stuff, like, people moved around, tribes moved around, families moved around, people changed their names, people lied about, people that could pass for different races. You don't, unless you get those tests done, like, you don't know, as John Lydon would say from Public Image Limited, the song Rise, I could be black, I could be white. Like, a lot of people, when they get those genetic tests, they find out that they have, like, certain percentages of, like, all kinds of weird things that they didn't know that they were. Sexuality as well. Gender and sexuality, we found out now as well. There's a whole spectrum. It's not just gay or straight. It's not just male or female. There's like a whole spectrum. Why label yourself? Why limit yourself? All we know is our past. All we know is who we've met so far. We have no idea. We have no idea what we might be attracted to in the future. We just have no idea, because it could be like one person. You can say, I'm not attracted to black people, or I'm not attracted to women, or I'm not attracted to Asians, and maybe you never were. But that doesn't mean that there could be like one that comes along where you are, so that's, so I just look at it like, don't label other people, don't accept labels. Let's stop accepting labels. Like, I don't want you to see me as a white straight woman. Because I'm not necessarily. I have no idea what I am. I know that I look white. I know, like, what my family says that we are. I know what's between my legs, but you don't unless you've been there. And doesn't matter, does it? If you like me for me. If I like you, I'll like you for you. Simple. Stop subscribing to labels. And stop bullying other people. Stop making love into a joke. And I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about human love. I'm talking about human connection. I've been online where I've had, people who perceive me to be, a straight female or whatever, think that if I'm talking to men who they perceive to be straight men, now keep in mind, they really have no idea what could be in between either one of our legs or brains, or what a relationship is. A person could be related to me, whatever, whatever the case is. It could just be a friend, like, but I've seen people, like, like, make fun of each other. I've seen artists make fun of each other, for for liking someone, for talking to someone, for engaging with someone, for being compassionate, for being empathetic. Like, stop. Like, stop promoting segregation of humanity. just because you perceive me a certain way, even if you know that I'm a certain way, maybe you're an ex-lover, and you know what I like, okay? And you see me talking to someone online or whatever, and oh, I bet she's having sex with him because he's the same type of guy as me, or she's the same type of girl as me, or whatever. It doesn't mean anything, you know what I mean? And it's not for you to, it's like, who are you to judge it, you know? If you want to know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm an honest person. If you want to know something, ask me. I'll tell you. You know, I don't have a problem because I have nothing to hide. You know, I'm not a cheater. I don't do fucked up things. So I you know, in relationships. So I don't have anything to hide. If you want, you know, even if I don't owe you an explanation, I don't mind giving you one. If you ask me, oh, are you, you know, with that person? I'm like, no, they're a friend. And you know, if you ask me questions that I become uncomfortable with, I'll tell you. But I don't block you. You know, unless you get, like, really crazy. But, you know, no, you know. I'll let you know, you know. I'll answer, like, pretty much almost anything, and then I'll, you know, let you know if I don't want to answer something. I'm not gonna, like, just ignore you either. So I don't think that that's right either. But, you know, we need to stop being jealous. Like, stop putting other people down. Stop assuming, like, stop assuming, like, what people are interested in, you know. Stop assuming that every time a guy talks to a woman, he's only after sex. You know what? A lot of them are. I've dealt with a lot of it. Okay, I've been sexually harassed, like, way more than is, I think, probably average. So, like, I know. Okay. But that doesn't mean that, like, every single guy that's talking to me is necessarily interested in that. Like, believe it or not, some people might think I'm funny or like my art or my music or whatever. Like, there's people that are interested for different reasons. And I think that when we give people a hard time, like when we make fun of people connecting with each other or like compete, you know, like when we compete or when we display you know, jealousy, like lots of, I mean, you know, I mean, it's natural to feel jealous or feel whatever, but I mean, these are like things that, like, you should just kind of, like, talk about with each other, not let fester, and just be like, you know, no, this person is my friend, or this person is my relative, or this person is whatever, and, you know, and I'm not with you, or whatever, like, we're not together anyway, so, like, relax, but, you know, I like you, or, you know, just be, like, honest with people, be honest with each other. But I think, like, my point is more that I think, when we propagate the idea that anyone of, like, the opposite sex that talks to someone of the opposite sex is, like, after sex, you know what I mean, instead of, like, communication, comfort, education, friendship, respect. I mean, anything, you know what I mean? We're dividing, guys. Like, we don't want to put divides between anyone. And we don't want to make people, like, scared, you know what I mean? I don't, you know, we don't want to make people scared to say, I love you, or I respect you, or I like your art, or I think you're cool, or, you know what I mean? I want to be friends with you. We don't want to put those divides, like, up between people because we're threatened, because we think, like, they might like them more than me, or, like, they might have sex, or, you know what I mean? You know, that kind of stuff happens as it may. If someone likes you, then they like you, and if they're a good person, then they're not going to cheat, and if they're not, then you don't want to be with them anyway, point blank. And it's none of your business unless you have an official agreement anyway. But you know, like, once again, my point is more like, stop putting those divides in, because, like, I've seen, you know, I've had it happen so many times. I mean, those of you that know me know, like, it's been, like, public dramas. I've had so many times, you know, because I've been worked in the music industry a long time. So many times, like, different artists, because, you know, 99% of you know, the famous musicians I've been photographed with or worked with, 99% of them have been 100% platonic. I have dated some people, you know, I can count them on one hand. But 99% of them have been platonic. They might be, like, admirers of me as a person, but they're not necessarily trying to hook up with me. You know, I might have been, like, a muse or an inspiration or a friend, or have a funny memory with them or something. And I've had, like, so much and so many times, like, other musicians, or or other people from my life, men and women, get like mad, like get jealous and mad and like assume stuff and or make fun of it. It goes in different ways. Like either put a divide in by kind of like threatening, like threatening either me or the other person, um, or or making fun of them even too. Like maybe someone is just sharing a moment with me or memory or like complimenting my work, and like one of their peers, another celebrity or whatever, will be like start making fun of them, like, oh, you want her, you want to fuck her, whatever. Like, stop. Seriously, like you got, like, people need to stop with that shit. um I don't want to be afraid to tell somebody I care about them. I don't want someone to be afraid to compliment me. Like, I don't want someone to be afraid to ask me a question. I don't want someone, this is terrorism. It's bullying. It's emotional terrorism. I don't want anyone to be afraid to talk to me, um, or to do business with me, or to ask me out, or anything. I can make my own decisions. If if you know something about, if you're worried about me being involved, I have an open door policy. You can tell me whatever you want. I'll keep it between us. I'll take it into consideration, and I'll make my own decision. And then we all need to start like enforcing on ourselves and trusting ourselves too, that if something is corrupt, whether it's a relationship, a job, um, an organization that we joined, or maybe we didn't know that it was, had ties to like other weird stuff, religion, a spirituality, anything, guys, it doesn't matter, whatever it is. We need to start like holding ourselves accountable to human standards of walking. When something's not right, when something's corrupt, even if it's not directly affecting you at that moment, if you're part of any kind of system where you see someone being mistreated, abused, hurt, anything where you see people where there's like where there's pain, where there's been pain and suffering and confusion and negative influence on someone, um, and you condone it by either participating in it or not standing up for the person, or like not putting your foot down with the powers that be, like you're as guilty as the person doing it. We need to start voicing our feelings about things. We need to call each other out when messages or products or anything might be harmful. And if we can't get anywhere with that communication, then we need to like be strong enough human beings to walk. There will always be more people to be friends with, other products that are just as good, other companies to work for, other scenes to be a part of, other lovers. There will always be choices, you guys. Always. Don't give your money, you know what I mean? If you see some sort of corruption, if you know that a company is corrupt, is putting out bad messages, is putting out harmful stuff, don't buy it. Write to them, call them out on it, you know what I mean? If it's, maybe it's not the product itself, maybe it's the advertising, maybe they got like weird racist advertising or violent advertising. Say, ask them, write to them, at the end of the day, with with companies, with products, with celebrities. At the end of the day, it's business. It's about money. Write to them. Say, hey, I love your product, but why is it, why is the advertisement got racist humor in it? Why is that advertisement like promoting violence? That bums me out. Or why are you being a dick? Hey, you just were like really mean to that fan online where everyone could see it, or a friend of yours where everyone could see it, like you're being a dick, like put your foot down. And when you see things like that, When you see things, you know what I mean, notify the person. Like I said, don't just block and walk. Always try to educate first, always try to notify the person, the company, the product, whatever. Like, let them know how you feel. Let them know, like, hey, this is triggering me, and I want you to know, because I care about the world and I care about myself, and I think it's fucked up that you're doing that. And maybe you're not maybe it's not your intention. Maybe you don't realize how serious it is. If you do, and by the way, if you get no response, it's the same thing as them basically saying that they do agree with, that they are trying to hurt people in my book. Because the way I feel is like, okay, if I write to a company, if I notify a company, if I'm, really, really vocal, company, person, celebrity, organization, anything, that I, bought, subscribed to, whatever it was. Could be a person I was friends with, could be a job I had, whatever. If I let them know that, hey, this something in your world here is shady, it hurt me, or I see it hurting people, or it's, bad for, society, I want answers. I want why, is this your intent? Is this what you want? This is the first question. Like, hey, this is what I see. This is what I see happening because of it. Or this is what happened to me because of it. Is that what you want? Is that your goal? Maybe it is the person's goal. Maybe they are racist. Maybe they are terrorists. Maybe, lots of companies are. Lots of people are, and that's, hey. And that's fine, but I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to associate with that. So I'm going to pull my money out. I'm going to pull my business out. I'm going to pull my heart out. I'm going to pull my affiliation out. And that's the answer, you guys. It's really all these big, big things. It kind of all does trickle down to like that little thing, It really, it's weird because people are never going to think that the answer is that simple, but it really is, because unfortunately, and I hate to say it, because it's so shallow, but like most of our issues, are surrounded by money. It's all like money and social. It's all money and socialization. Those are the two big things. So when you pull those, take the power out. You know what I mean? Like, try to communicate first, Try to communicate first if something's bad, if you feel something's bad, if you feel something's wrong. But, if that company, person, product, art, whatever, scene, if they're not going to respond, if they're not going to address it, if they're not, socially conscious enough to take into consideration what you're saying, fuck them. Not literally. Then you block and walk. Or whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? That's how you change the world, you guys. Don't support things that are harmful. And when I say that, I don't mean don't jump on a big bandwagon. You don't have to, get a parade going, like, this person did this to me, and now everyone should hate them, da-da-da-da-da-da. No, you don't have to, because you know what? I mean, even though some people deserve that, depending on what they did, you don't even have to, you don't really have to do that, because you have to, look at it on the flip side. Okay, if you were the other people, you wouldn't know if it was true. And, what about, I think we've all had people say untrue stuff about us, right? So we wouldn't want, to be the victim of a witch hunt either. If we think about that, we don't want to encourage people to spread rumors to destroy people out of competition. That's not what it's about. And that's why it's not necessary to, get everybody else involved. What's necessary is to take the power to yourself. Say hey, yeah, you know what? I don't have to go on I don't have to write anti-articles about this thing or that thing or this person or whatever. If I know something's shady, if I've done my research, if I've done my research, if I've had personal experiences, if I've tried to work out the personal experiences, and nothing has changed, or I've been ignored, if I continue to be hurt, if I continue to have bad experiences, if I continue to see bad experiences, Because, for a long time, I was part of a scene where, like, nothing bad happened to me, but I saw bad things happening to other people. And I like, stuck around because I was like, well, it wasn't happening to me, which is a lot of people do. And then, one day I said, you know what? Fuck this. No. It's not worth it. I was like, I'll give up my status. I'll give up my friends. I'll give up whatever because I'm not going to be a part of this anymore. I don't want that name attached to me. I don't want that scene attached to me. I don't want that product attached to me because it's harmful. I don't want that person affiliated with me. Maybe they're really nice to me, but they're cruel to other people. That's not okay. And you know why that's not okay? Because if you're okay with standing by and knowing that someone's being cruel to other people, especially people that, maybe didn't even deserve it, but regardless of the issue, like true cruelty, if you're okay with being employed by somebody that is exhibiting human cruelty, if you're okay with being friends with someone that's exhibiting human cruelty to, other people, even if it's not you, what does it say about you? Also, are you fucking stupid? If someone's like that, if someone is exhibiting cruelty, I mean, I'm not saying, like, maybe if it's, like, one person, like, maybe if they have, like, an issue with, like, one person and it's whatever, okay, but, like, if you see someone that's, like, exhibiting, like, some sort of cruelty, like, on a regular basis, it's to multiple people, or to people where you do know enough about the situation to know, like, hey, that's, maybe you should not be like that, like, it's not okay, you're almost just as bad, because like I said, there's always other jobs, there's always other products, there's always other companies, there's always other friends, there's always other scenes, there's always other lovers. You don't have to put up with physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, terrorism, bullying, or violence, or generalization of any kind. We truly are one, and we all affect each other. And we affect the earth, literally. If you guys study all these things, everything is connected. Our politics, our environment, our diet, the way we treat animals, the way we conduct business, our religions, the way we raise our children, the way we make love, the way we hate, it's all connected. It all affects one another. So, wake up, realize that every time you're being unfair, every time you're being an asshole, every time you're not addressing someone who's hurt and, like, at least giving it a try to see if you can work out a situation. Every time you're standing by an employer that's causing people harm. Every time you're putting, money above, people's lives or stupid politics or, whatever. You're killing yourself. Every single time you allow pain and suffering on anyone, you are killing yourself. You're affecting our political climate. You're affecting our spiritual climate. You're affecting our sexual climate. You're affecting our economics. Think of it that way. Think of it as every time you say something really mean to someone, or every time you stand by and let someone say something mean to someone, it's causing a hole in the ozone layer. Or every time someone tries to make up with you and you refuse, or vice versa, it's causing a hole in the ozone layer that's going to soon fry you to ashes. Think of it that way. Because that's pretty much what it is, you guys. So yeah, is it hard to change the world in one swipe? Yeah. But you know what's not hard? It's not hard to not be an asshole. It's not hard to be honest. It's not hard to try to communicate. It's not hard to think. It's not hard to ask yourself questions and to answer other people's questions. It's not hard to be nice. It's really not. And it's not that hard to ask yourself, are the things I'm doing, saying, representing, causing more harm or good in the world? Or if neither, is there little things I could do that would help? I guarantee you there is. I guarantee you. From little things like choosing better products to standing your ground with people who violate you in any kind of way, walking out of jobs, ripping up contracts. You know, if anything is unfair, unjust, causing pain, causing suffering to you or anyone else that you see, and especially if it's unnecessary, especially when there's alternatives, especially when, you know, there's other ways. Walk. Don't fake it. Don't fake it. Walk. Say no. Ask questions. Pull your business out. Pull your support out. Be an individual. Walk alone. Sleep alone, if that's what you have to do. Educate. Do what I'm doing right now. Do something. Do anything. Be the change. Be the change that you want to see in the world. And if you want to see fucked up shit, ask yourself why. Ask yourself how it's going to make your life any better. And then reevaluate how you want to deal with problems. Okay? It's just stuff